Welcome back to Podium Esports coverage of Porsche Club of America Sim Racing Series 5 Round 5 from Circuit of the Americas, where it is time for our second race of the evening in the Sport class, presented by Leland West, Rest Insured. It is time to take you through the starting grid, where Jensen Benet will lead us off a 2:17.364 to take the top spot over Michael Masters. Gregory Sampson begins from third this evening. Fourth on the grid is Sebastiano Balastrieri. Earl Arts Jr. starts from fifth. Sixth is Orgun Garal. Julian Velez rolls off from seventh. Eighth on the grid tonight is Chris Duffy. Ken Eskridge is ninth, and Gary Rice rolls off from 10th. Taylor.
Starting in the 11th position will be Mo Dotcut, followed by Donald Binkley in 12th position. Peter Yerkes will be starting in the 13th position, followed by George Markatakis in 14th. 15th will be Randall Ayers, followed by Bob Moore in 16th. Lon Ray Sarumi will be starting from the 17th position with Arnie Clayson in 18th. 19th will go to Paul Soap with Curtis Crummell rounding out your top 20.
Robert Walton will start 21st this evening. 22nd will be Ryan McGee. Al Sadouk begins from 23rd. 24th of the grid is Chip Wick. Stephen Bukowski begins tonight from 25th. Rusty Pruden starts in 26th. 27th belongs to Antonio Da Silva. Carl Bocchieri is 28th. 29th, Jody Podpora. James Bernard starts 30th. Stuart Nelson, Tyler Edwards, and David Centel, the final three starters on the grid. This second race of the evening is brought to you by Leland West. Leland West was started by PCA member Holly Bromberg after he recognized the need for more affordable Porsche insurance. We found that over 11,000 PCA members also share this need, and since 1981, Leland West has offered its select automobile insurance program to PCA members across the United States. Working with collectible automobiles on a daily basis makes working at Leland West as fun as insurance can be. And following in Holly's footsteps, they know their enthusiasm and expertise help make them the best choice for collectors and enthusiasts alike. Leland West, Rest Insured. Jensen Benet to take us around the Circuit of the Americas for the first lap in the sport class, and we'll see if turn one ends up being Calamity Corner the same way it was for the challenge class just about 50 minutes ago, as Benet will try and go back-to-back and win for the second time in as many weeks as he and Michael Masters will begin us in our second race of the evening, the sport class presented by Leland West. We'll take off momentarily. Green flag comes out. Now we are underway with our second race of the evening in round 5 of Series 5 of PCA Sim Racing. Benet with that good run up the hill. Master stays to the outside. Here comes Greg Sampson with a big move to the inside, and he may well just about get there. He had to force Benet to check up just a bit. Meanwhile, further back, looks like they might bump into each other ever so slightly, but no spinners, save for the very back of the field. But everybody through cleanly for the most part, so now it's all about, can they make it through the S's, Taylor?
That's going to be the question indeed as they work through the S's. A couple of cars trying to go through there as best as they can. A couple of them too wide right now. But for the most part, everybody keeping it clean and green here at Circuit of the Americas for the first time through the S's.
Little pack of 4 back in about 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. Everybody else single file through this section of the racetrack, and even that quartet will file out into one big conga line of cars that attacks this group. Here comes Michael Masters, though, looking to the inside of Sebastiano Balastrieri, and Masters will go back to second. Meanwhile, Gregory Sampson looking to the inside of Earl Arts Jr. I thought he might make the move on the 61, but it may wait until they enter the stadium section.
I think Gregory Sampson actually is currently ahead of Earl Arts Jr. Earl Arts Jr., your points leader here in the challenge class, is trying to get into the top 4. They're going to go side by side into the braking zone as they almost get into the back bumper of Sebastiano Balastrieri. As you see, Earl Arts Jr. will make the pass after being held up. We saw Gregory Sampson being held up by Sebastiano, move him to P4.
So what kind of speed does Earl Arts Jr. have on Sebastiano Balastrieri? That's the biggest question. And how good is Jensen Benet? How good can he be? He was tremendous at Road Atlanta last week and barely broke a sweat en route to victory. Michael Masters with a solid run, though, too. It's one of the best runs he's had since his third-place finish in the second race of the season not too long ago.
Well, right now, he's about 2 seconds behind our race leader, Jensen Benet, but He's got about a 1.6 second lead over Sebastiano Ballestieri as they enter into turn number 20. Here comes a big run, though, from Gregory Sampson to get to the back bumper of Earl Arch Jr., but Earl Arch will go side by side for third place with Sebastiano down the front straightaway heading up to turn 1.
That was a beautiful move from Earl Arch to check up early and hit an early apex in turn 20 and get underneath Ballestieri, who left the door open on corner exit. So there goes Arch up to third, Ballestieri back to fourth, and Gregory Sampson will try and hold off P5 from Julian Velez and Chris Duffy, the rubber ducky machine, who won our first race in this class at Laguna Seca, running in 7th.
He's trying to get back up to the top step of the podium once again here tonight, and he's going to try and do it here at Coda as he's going to try to hold off a hard-charging Ken Eskridge in the number 15 as they work their way through the S's and climb the hill to the very top before going back down before they hit that hairpin, as we see Julian Velez get around Sebastiano Ballestieri, as well as here comes Chris Duffy. He'll work around the outside as they come up the hill before heading down the hill into the hairpin.
Good work there from Velez. Ken Eskridge just about got into the back of Chris Duffy. I thought for sure that he was going to slam the rear bumper of the 924 machine, but he just got it checked up in time as nearly calamity over in turn 11. But they managed to straighten themselves out. Now Eskridge will have his chance to try and get Duffy entering the stadium section.
Here we go. Duffy looks to the inside of Julian Velez. They'll go side by side through turn number 12, and we can see Duffy gets the position, but he can't quite clear him just yet. They'll still be side by side through turn 13, but Velez will overshoot the corner, give the position now to Chris Duffy. That
was beautiful work from Chris Duffy to cross over Velez and send him backwards, and now Velez is going to have to fight off Ken Eskridge in the 15 machine, who will do the early apex move we saw from Earl Arch Jr. coming out of the stadium section, but with a little bit less success. Couldn't draw even with Velez's number 33 car. So still work to be done for the 15 machine, but Chris Duffy with plenty of pace now, and I think now that he's got a little bit of breathing room on Velez, this might be where we see him open up. And if you're worried about what's happening up front, don't be. Jensen Benet's already opened it up to a 2.2 second lead on Michael Masters, so not much that you're missing there. This is the best battle on track by a significant margin.
It certainly is, as Julian Velez gets another great run off of turn number 20. He's going to try to pull into the back bumper of Chris Duffy as they make the climb uphill to turn number 1. Hit the braking zone. They will go. Velez laid into the corner. Will he overshoot it? No, he's going to keep pace with Chris Duffy through that corner of turn number 1 as they go down the hill through the S's.
So Duffy beginning to gap Velez. Eskridge, though, in the mix. And let's not forget about Ogun Garat, too. A decent amount of spacing with a lot of these drivers, and maybe we need to head a little bit further back. How about the 13th? You've got Randall Ayers and Peter Yerxa, or Yerxes, I guess, if you're Taylor Burris, depending on who you ask. But in either case, a great battle between Ayers, Yerxa, and Donald Binkley.
Here they go. They're going to be nose to tail as they climb through the S's up the hill. Peter doing a great job as they keep up with pace of Randall Ayers. A good point in sight for him as he's able to finish in this position, or maybe even a top 10 run for him tonight, as Peter is currently sitting in 7th in the point standings right now for the Down East region.
Down East region from Scarborough, Maine is Peter Yerxa waiting for his move. Bob Moore's also in the mix here too, as Yerxa just about, again, everybody with completely different braking points in these hairpins, which is possible because the apexes of the hairpins themselves are so wide here. It's the same thing over in turn 1 to some degree. It's the same thing we see in turn 20, but now great move from Yerxa to get to the inside of Randall Ayers, who I don't think is going to have any sort of defense. So the question is going to be, how do you respond and try and get back around Yerxa in the stadium section? The answer would be to try and apex it tight, but instead they'll let Yerxa go. So Peter Yerxa now to 13th, Ayers back to 14th. Bob Moore waiting in the wings to try and run down Ayers and move up from 15th position.
Yeah, Bob Morris having a great run here tonight, keeping up pace with Randall Ayers and Peter Yerxa as they come through the infield section, or the stadium section of the circuit, as they come up to turn 16, 17, and 18. That long sweeping corner where you can gain so much momentum on your competition if you hit the apex just right as they approach turn 19.
A very good question indeed. It's up to 3 seconds now for Jensen Benet's faster by everybody else on this racetrack by a good margin to a solid 7/10 of a second, as we see Bob Moore make the move on Randall Ayers to take over 14th. So Ayers back to 15th, and then really good stuff here just a little bit further back. Donald Binkley, Alsa Duke, Paul Solk, Robert Walton, 4 cars there within a second of each other.
A great battle indeed as they are approaching turn number 1. Donald Binkley in that 02 Porsche holding off a hard charge from the 006 of Alsa Duke and 787 of Paul Solk as they go down the hill through the S's. Let's see if Binkley can hold off Alsa Duke once again through the S's as Saduk takes a peek, has to now follow the leader through the S's to keep pace as they come up the hill.
Especially in the back half of these S's, Dakota, you really do have to play follow the leader. It's, I think, to some degree applicable once you enter the S's, but it's this back part that they climb through here as they work their way up the hill and start coming out on the straightaway that leads to turn 11, or that little dogleg kink section. That's about where you have to open it up. That's the tightest part. They just went through right there, and you pretty much have to be single file from there. Then maybe you get a shot at the hairpin if you're close enough.
Well, I think Paul Solk's going to try to attempt that as they go into the braking zone of the hairpin. They'll go side by side. Paul Solk will get to the inside of Alsa Duke and take the position away, move out back to 18th. Paul Solk will move to 17th, but they're still going to be just side by side a little bit as they go down the long back straightaway heading into turn number 12.
For better or worse, the apexes of the hairpins allow you to just drive it in and slam the brakes in a way that you really don't get the chance to do at a lot of other tracks that we see in PCA sim racing. Is I think that was Paul Solk who just completely missed turn 12 and gives up the spot back to Alsa Duke, which I guess makes a very convenient point as to what the converse of hitting those deep sends into the corners would be. Sometimes you get them and they stick and you can gain a spot like Sultan did on Saduk at 11. Sometimes you can completely blow it and then you miss the corner and give up the spot, which is exactly what happened to Sulk one corner later.
It certainly has, and you can show you might have the position one corner, but you can lose it the very next corner. So unfortunate for Paul Sulk, he now has to work his way back up through the field.
Sulk with work to do. Binkley now closing in on Ayers, who continues to slide backwards, and now that is the best battle amongst this group, at least until you get to the group up in bits. Sebastiano Balestrieri, Chris Duffy, Julian Velez, Ken Eskridge back together once again.
Yes, they are. We'll keep an eye and see what they're able to do right now as Chris Duffy is trying to gain that bit of ground to get to the back bumper of Sebastiano Balestrieri. He will look to the inside as he goes almost. His nose gets cut off by Sebastiano as they climb the hill once again.
If this were football, that would most definitely have been the equivalent of a chop block to clean out somebody's knees there. The Balestrieri threw on Chris Duffy. He came right across the nose of that number 924, and Duffy very easily had the opportunity to turn Balestrieri. So credit to Duffy that he decided not to act on that, but the opening was certainly there. But Balestrieri looks like he's struggling for rear grip more than anything else. I look at these cars in line, and from Balestrieri all the way back to about Gary Rice in 11th, they're all in the line of sight. And the rear end of the 516 of Balestrieri is dancing around far more than anybody else within this group. Suggests to me that he really is fighting to get the power back down to the pavement, especially in acceleration zones.
Look at that right there. You see they had to check up a little bit because Sebastiano could not get the power down off corner exit through turn number 12, and they still have to check up even more. Sebastiano is holding up drivers such as Chris Duffy and Julian Velez to catch their way up to the rest of the field right now, because they were close right behind Gregory Sampson, not by much, and now they're about 8 seconds back from Gregory Sampson in 4th position.
How much are they going to let Balestrieri hang out like this, and how much are they going to force the issue? Expect something in turn 1 if we don't see it in turn 20, as Duffy will have 2 opportunities to make this move. Here comes the run through 19. Earlier apex for Duffy than Balestrieri, which means that Duffy will probably be a little bit too far away to make the move here, but he's going to focus on getting a good exit with a decent amount of power, almost too much power down for Duffy. We'll see just how close he can get up the hill, because if ever there were a passing zone at Coda, this is the spot. And Velez flashes the lights on Duffy to try and throw the 924 off while he tries to chase Balestrieri in the 516.
He is doing everything that he can right now as they go down the hill through the S's. They will go through turns 2 and 3 and can make the climb up the hill and through the back half of the course right now. But Chris Duffy is keeping pace. He's actually running a little bit faster. Nope, that time around he was about a tenth slower than Sebastiano. But here comes Julian Velez. He'll look to the inside as they climb the hill. Have to check up just a little bit as there goes Duffy around.
There goes Chris Duffy spinning off in the S's, and he'll get back down and keep it on the grass, but not before he loses the spot. So it's Julian Velez who now takes over the spot for a moment, but now here comes Ken Eskridge to the inside of the 33.
Ken Eskridge going to go side by side with Julian Velez as they approach the hairpin corner of turn 11 before they hit the back straightaway. Eskridge, though, can't quite make it work. He'll see if he can get a better run off turn exit of turn 11, but down the back straightaway, Ken Eskridge will sit 7th while Julian Velez sits 6th.
Split up what was a very good group there, and we'll take this moment now that battle has subsided, at least for a little while, to remind you that tonight's setups in PCA Sim Racing are brought to you in part by Virtual Racing School. All drivers in PCA Sim Racing Series 5 have the option to run VRS setups, and for more information about them, you can visit them at www.virtualracingschool.com for more information. Bastrieri has some time to breathe and think now. It's about 3 seconds from Velez to the 516 machine. And then a really good stuff between Argunga Ralph, Modanka, Gary Rice. That's where I think the fun went in this little group.
Yeah, that's going to be a great little battle right here for the inside the top 10. Oregon Derlap doing a great job of holding off Modanka and Gary Rice as they are working their way through the back half of the course through looks like turn 19 right there as they're approaching the final half of the corners here. But a great race here between these 3 drivers for the top 10.
Eskridge and Velez are now about 3 seconds ahead of us after that incident there with Chris Duffy slowed down the whole group and split them up. It's about Bastrieri. So a biggest break really for the 516. That's the big takeaway from all of this, is that he was being caught pretty significantly and now has some time to gather his thoughts and not have to worry about the pressure as Chris Duffy is down pit road for service. So I wonder if he may well be taking his pit stop now.
It's a good time because we just are a lap away from, or 2 laps away from the halfway point. So we could be seeing some drivers make their way down pit road here within the next couple of laps.
Everybody's going to need a splash of some form if you're competing in this class. 40 minutes, just a little bit too far to make it on one stop with the fuel settings that we have. So these drivers will pit at some point, and this becomes an interesting play for Duffy. Given the lap he just had, it almost feels like at this point, I'm going to cut my losses, I'm going to run my race and get back to my pace, and I'm just going to do me for a little bit and see what that gets me once everyone else cycles through pit road, and then maybe I can gain a few spots back on these drivers.
And certainly we'll have to wait and see what Chris Duffy will do. He's currently sitting in 19th position, about 6.5 back from the 41 of Chris Crummell, as he is trying to see if he can work his way back up to a top 10 run before the night's over with.
Jensen Benet, oh, by the way, out in front by, 4.3 seconds now. That lead has steadily increased throughout the evening. So we'll return back to Garalpa and Dodka and Rice. This trio represents our best battle on the racetrack. There's another good one just behind this between Markadakis, Yerxa, and Moore. We'll split our attention for the time being between these 2 groups to see where the fun is at Circuit of the Americas.
Taking a look right now, George Markadakis is still in that battle with Peter Yerxa as they're coming up through the back half of the stadium circuit. Gary Rice not too far off the road from them as well, but this is a good battle between them. Peter tries to get a good run off of corner exit and tries to see if he can get to the inside of turn 19. Can't quite make it work.
Also of note in chat, I think I'd be remiss not to make the point, but Chris Pies, who won the pro race at Barber Motorsports Park a few weeks ago, made the point that the duck on the hood of Duffy's car looks pretty amazing. And I think to that end, Taylor, all I can say is, well, of course the Birdman would appreciate another bird on a hood of a race car. It makes perfect sense, right?
It makes perfect sense indeed. I mean, the Birdman is happy to see a duck out on the track. I would be very disappointed if the Birdman didn't make a comment about the rubber ducky on Chris Duffy's Porsche.
Of course, Chris Pye's owner of Cockatiel, Mr. Chip, who did in fact serve as his crew chief the night he won at Barber Motorsport Park. And we have photographic evidence of that, which we'll bring out a little bit later in the broadcast, because you all think we're crazy. No, we're not crazy. We just do PCA sim racing. These are normal things that happen throughout.
This is one of the many fun stories and fun topics to talk about when it comes to PCA sim racing. I mean, where else in the world do you find a broadcast we talk about a Cockatiel as a crew chief for a sim racer?
Oh, the contact between Geralp and Dadka. And Dadka just went full NASCAR there and tried to give Geralp the chrome horn. It shades of Dale Earnhardt in a Porsche, which I didn't think we'd necessarily see. But if anything, it checked up Dadka. So now Gary Rice has a shot to go to the inside of the 18 car.
They're going to go side by side into turn number 12. Let's see. Will Dotka be able to hold the position? No. Gary Rice will move up into P9 as Dotka will try to follow suit, but can't get to the back bumper of Gary Rice. But here he comes through turn number 13. They will go, and he is trying to put the pressure on the number 1 Porsche.
Really trying to get back and see if he can get the position back from Gary Rice. And all of that madness just let Orgun Geralp really open it up nicely, I think, more than anything else.
I don't know. Here comes Gary Rice with a full head of steam through the stadium section of the course. He's about a car length back from Orgun Geralp as they come through turn 19 once again. He gets right on the back bumper, but has to check up a little bit. Lost some time off corner exit.
Lost a lot of time out of corner exit as Orgun Geralp now your leader of this group, and we'll slide a little bit further back because we're starting to see pit stops as George Markadakis comes in. Peter Yerksa now jumps ahead of the 103, as does Bob Moore. Those two were racing within about 5/10 of one another.
Yeah, great battle indeed. We'll have to see what George Markadakis will do when he comes off pit road. He is currently, by the looks of it, if timing scoring is going to be right, he might be able to beat Chris Duffy off pit road, but it's going to be a close one. So we'll have to see who will be the highest driver off pit road. As Chris Duffy just crossed the line. Nope, it will now be Chris Duffy, the highest pitter currently at this time.
So Duffy in after a while, a few laps to go, and now he is ahead of Markadakis. So the key for Duffy is to try and be the first man off of pit road, which I think he's going to be able to knock out a lot of the grid with. The problem is that Jensen Benet continues to be faster than everyone else, up to 0.6 of seconds now. But good battle between Earl Lawrence or Gregory Sampson, who has not let the 61 car or points leader go away just yet.
No, he has been keeping them quite honest. Both of them running very consistent lap times. About 0.2 of each other separate the two drivers as they are coming through the stadium section of the course, keeping up to pace with everybody as they're going through lap traffic also as well.
Work, and then a little bit more work all around as Bob Moore gets to the inside of Peter Yerksa back in that 11th and 12th battle that we've covered a few times over the course of the evening. So we'll watch them go through the stadium section and see if they are as near pit stops as I think they might be, as Yerksa just about clipped Moore's rear bumper.
It's a close battle indeed between these two drivers as we are closing in. Actually, we just passed the halfway point here tonight.
Just past halfway indeed, and this is Northeast region of Boston versus the Downeast region, so a fully northeastern battle here that we will watch and wait to see how it pans out, and or if they decide to come down pit road, which they refrain from, which means we will turn our attention to our midway race break, which for the sport class is brought to you by Leland West. Leland West, rest insured. No surprise to see Jensen Benet back out in front of another sport class race. He's already got a few wins in Series 5 to his name. 2 of them, to be exact. Looking for 3 in his second in 2 weeks. Michael Masters holds the second spot in this race at the moment. Third, as it stands, belongs to Earl Lawrence Jr. Coming into tonight, he was the points leader. The 4th spot in this race, Gregory Sampson, who comes out of the Maverick region, another one of the Texans for whom tonight is a home race. Sebastiano Balistrieri is another one of our Metropolitan New York region drivers. He'll have a home race next week at Watkins Glen, just ahead of Julian Velez, who runs in 6th. Same thing for him, too. Northern New Jersey region member will appreciate heading to Watkins Glen in 1 week's time. Ken Eskridge runs in the 7th position in the 15 car. It will be Orgun Garaup in 8th at this time. The 9th spot on the racetrack, out of the number 1 machine. That belongs to Gary Rice, a Pete Stater, and then Mo Danka in the 18 machine, having a really good one tonight, rounding out the top 10 at the moment.
Another driver who's been having a strong run inside the top 10, top 15 is Bob Moore in the 772, as he's just now coming down pit road, getting passed by Peter Yurtza from the Down East region. He's been in the 11th position. Donald Binkley is currently sitting in the 13th position right now. He's in that number 02, been inside the top 15 for a majority of tonight's race, followed by Randall Ayers in the 14th position in that number 83 Porsche. Paul Sulk is in 15th in the 787. He's from the Jersey Shore region. He's been battling inside there pretty well for the most part of the year tonight. In 16th, you'll find the 6 of Robert Walton. He's about 3/10 back from Paul Sulk, but in a tight battle as well with the 41 of Curtis Kreml in 17th. In 18th, we will find the Florida Citrus Region's driver and the highest pitter currently, the 924 of Chris Duffy. And then back in 19th, the 103 of George Markadakis from the Metropolitan New York region. He's going to be looking forward to going to his home track at Watkins Glen next week. Rounding out your top 20 is the 11 of Lanre Sarumi.
Johnny Podpora rides in the 21st position, a Rocky Mountain region driver in the 113. Stephen Bukowski is 22nd this evening, another Texan, a Lone Star region driver, ahead of James Bernard, the 23rd place driver, all the way out of Alaska. 24th belongs to the 006 of Al Saduq, Eastern Buckeye region around Youngstown, Ohio. He's already made his pit stop. Tyler Edwards holds 25th. The Peach Stater out of Georgia, 26th. And another car has come down pit road for service is Ryan McGee in the 944 out of the Nordstein region in Minnesota. Stuart Nelson, one of the Team Haggerty drivers, runs in the 27th position out of the Chicago region. 28th belongs to Carl Bucchiari, who's come down pit road 2, another Metro New York driver. Antonio Da Silva is 29th, and another Metro New York driver. They sort of run the show here. And then the Redwood region's Chip Witt runs in 30th. He's the last car on track. Rusty Pruden, David Sentel, and Arnie Klassen are out of the race already. And that concludes our midway race break for the Sport Clash of PCA Sim Racing, which is brought to you by Leland West. Leland West, rest assured. Got a little bit calamitous around Chris Duffy that last time by, as we saw one car come down pit road for service, and I imagine we'll see a few more specifically within the next 2 or 3 laps, especially if you're trying to potentially stretch this out and short pit by a little bit. Don't think it's going to make much difference now. You should be able to put in enough gas to make it to the end and not necessarily have to carry a full tank. So you certainly want to be mindful of that. Any fuel you carry with you is more fuel that you have to worry about burning or slowing you down. So we'll keep an eye and see who enters pit road and when. But as it stands, the best battle on track, Curtis Crummell and Chris Duffy, is Julian Velez will come down pit road from pit. So there's one taker.
One driver who I'm going to be keeping an eye on is that of the 270 of Michael Masters. He's currently the highest pitter right now. He just got by Julian Velez, moved him up to P6. So it's going to be a matter of time to see when will the top 5 make it through pit road right now. Oregon Garlap is currently in a battle with Michael Masters in the 270. They're going to be nose to tail as they go through the S's of turn 3, 4, 5, and so on as they work their way up the hill, as they are right there nose to tail coming out of the S's and making the climb.
Julian Velez just had the fastest combined pit stop plus lane in, lane out time of anybody. A 29.5 second trip through pit lane and a 5-second pit stop for a total of 34.5 seconds, if that. Lightning quick stop for the 33 of Velez. You'll be happy about that one, no question, as Curtis Crummell and Robert Walton are in. They sit 17th and 18th as it stands.
Great battle indeed for these drivers as they now enter into the area of the circuit towards that back half of the course. And Michael Masters gets a great run off of turn 11. They're going to go side by side down the back straightaway into turn number 12. Who will be the bravest of the two drivers? Michael Masters is trying to get down to the inside. As they still say side by side, will Oregon overshoot the corner? Will Michael Masters overshoot the corner as they go still into the braking zone? Masters will take the position, move him to P5, but overshoots it. Oregon Garlap will take back 5th place.
You figured that might happen. It's always a possibility over in turn 12, and Masters did indeed overshoot the corner. So Garlap will lose 5th and then gain it right back as soon as he lost it. Now Masters has some time to regroup, and Gary Rice right behind him in that one car.
Yes, indeed. Here comes Gary Rice putting the pressure on Michael Masters in the 270 through the stadium section of the circuit, through the final few sections, that long sweeping corner before they hit the turn number 19. And it is going to be Gary Rice losing a little bit of ground to the 270 and Michael Masters.
Garlap and Masters in great shape. Rice waiting. He's right behind Masters, still has to come down pit road, but then again, so do all of your race leaders. And Benet has got it up by almost 13 seconds on Earl Arts Jr., so no need to worry about him. But Garlap has come down pit road, so Argun Garlap in from the 7th spot.
That now moves him back toward the field. Let's see how long he'll be on pit road, and will he be able to make any recovery after the pit stop cycle is completed for the drivers here, as we're looking to see right now how quickly he will get off of pit road. He's still on there. He should be released here momentarily. Yes, indeed, a 4.4 second stop. Nope, 7.8 second stop for Oregon Garlap as he is now comes off pit road and gets back on the racetrack.
7.8 seconds, which is on the slower side of things, as a matter of fact, and he'll fall behind Chris Duffy upon rejoining the racetrack. So Duffy now up to 10th. They'll try and chase after Sebastiano Barastrieri and Julian Velez. Funny how that all works out. They come down pit road and they're all right together once again, Taylor.
Once again, together again they will be, and they will have a fight to the finish with less than 11 minutes to go here at Circuit of the Americas. But the driver who I want to be keeping an eye on right now is that of Jensen Benet, Earl Arts Jr., and Gregory Sampson, your top 3 right now. When will they come down pit road? And I got to say, one battle to be keeping an eye on is that battle for second between Earl Arts Jr. and Gregory Sampson. Those two have not left each other's side since the drop of the green flag.
They still both have to come down to pit, as does our leader, Jensen Benet, on the 4th place car, Ken Eskridge. And I also suspect that we may not be done seeing them battle either, because Arts and Sampson are not terribly far away from one another. It's right on the edge of 1 second. It's one of the closer battles we have at the racetrack so far.
As we watch and see, the top 3 have gone past pit entrance, so they're going to stay out another lap here at Circuit of the Americas as Ken Estridge, he is coming up through the final corners. Will he come down pit road this time by? The answer will be no. He will remain out on the racetrack here at Circuit of the Americas.
So Eskridge with a good run. Gregory Sampson still hanging in there. You see Gary Rice on your screen now. He's trying to chase down Michael Masters, but he also still has to make the pit stop, as does Bob Morris. You figure those two are going to slide back, and then Velez has managed to clear Barastrieri and move Julian Velez up into 8th.
Currently right now, out of the drivers who have made their pit stop, Michael Masters is the highest pit stop driver who's currently out on the racetrack. Chris Duffy, though, who has been working his way up through the field, he is now entered into 9th position right now. So one of the drivers who started furthest back after pit stop cycles were started, he has worked his way 10 spots since that pit stop. So a great run for him right now, as he is going to get by Bob Moore as well and move up to P8.
Which, incidentally, is right where Chris Duffy started this race. So even after the spin, all's well that ends well, and Duffy is right back where this race began for the number 924 machine. Still no stops for your top 4 yet, though. And then the back half of the field has yet to come in. Lanre Sarumi, Jody Podpura, James Bedard, Stephen Bukowski, Tyler Edwards towards the back. Paul Solk is yet to pit, and then Rice along with your top 4. Everybody else is coming down pit road. The Balistrieri is in this time in particular.
Yeah, several other drivers have also come down pit road. Jody Podporter has come down pit road, along with, looks like to be Robert Walton has come down. Or no, he's currently already made a pit stop. He came down through pit road. Paul Sulk has still yet to pit, as well as the rest of the top 5 and Gary Rice.
No stop for Benet or Arts or Sampson or Eskridge.
Here they are.
Or Rice.
Here
But
comes
now,
Sampson.
Arts and Sampson, indeed, as you just pointed out, Taylor, in, and we'll see if Eskridge responds too. So Benet may well be the last one to make his stop, but Eskridge and Rice going to potentially make the stop this time. We'll see. Not yet for Ken Eskridge, not yet for Gary Rice. So those two, along with Jenson Benet at the front, have yet to pit.
This is going to be interesting now as they are approaching 7 minutes to go left on the clock, or about 4 laps to go here at Circuit of the Americas. Will they try to conserve as much fuel as they can? This is a good opportunity for Jenson Benet. He's about over 38 seconds ahead of Earl Arts Jr. So a great opportunity for him to try to save some fuel to where he has less fuel to put into his Porsche when he does have to come down pit road, which I have a feeling will be this lap if... Nope, he's still out there on track with going at full pace right now. So I thought he almost ran out of fuel this time.
Didn't run out of fuel, but before we get to the stretch run and before they come down pit road, we remind you all that tonight's broadcast of PCA Sim Racing is brought to you by the Racing Analytics application, the Z1 Dashboard. The Z1 Dashboard shows everything you need to know about your position on track, your competitors' positions, and where you'll be after pit stops. The Z1 Dashboard can also tell you where your competition is, when you should pit, how much fuel you should take, and what the weather is like on the racetrack. You can assign up to 10 different dashboards to each car and switch between them with a click of a button. So the required information and the best information for you is always at your fingertips. To find out more about the Z1 Dashboard, please visit www.z1dashboard.com. As always, Z1 Dashboard is offering a free software package to one lucky PCA Sim Racing EDE student. And tonight, our winner is Dan Chapman for the Northern New Jersey region in the challenge class. The PCA Sim Racing EDE program provides free sim racing coaching from the drivers turning their first laps of the racetrack to the most seasoned of pro class drivers. And you can sign up for the EDE program at PCASimRacing.com/EDE to be the next Z1 Dashboard software package winner potentially. As Benet comes down pit road for service, he is in, coming to lap 17.
Now the question will be, can he get off pit road quicker than Earl Arts Jr. right now? It's going to be a tall order indeed for the 718 of Jenson Benet, as I believe here comes Earl Arts Jr. right by pit entry. So it's going to be a race to the finish once Jenson Benet comes off pit road, which he just has exited. So once again now, Jenson Benet will retain the race lead here at Circuit of the Americas with 3 laps to go.
It was about 13 seconds when Arts came in for his service. And as this normalizes, we'll wait to see what this does for Arts once the gap gets back down to normal levels. As Gregory Sampson and Ken Eskridge have still yet to pit, which should give Michael Masters third once Sampson comes down.
As we keep an eye on seeing what happens, Michael Masters about 4.7 seconds back from Gregory Sampson in that 91. So given a little bit more time, maybe if we had more time, I think Masters could have caught it up to the back bumper of Sampson, but it's going to be a tall order. Catching is one thing. Passing is a completely different ballgame.
Not too many minutes left to go. 4 minutes flat on the clock now. So maybe another lap here or two for Benet. I suspect that we'll get maybe 2. We'll watch and see what the clock says. If it's down to about the 2:20 range, it'll be very close when Jenson Benet crosses the start-finish line. So we may be in for 2 more laps here at Coe.
We certainly may be, which is 2 more laps that drivers such as Earl Arts Jr. and Gregory Sampson, Michael Masters, want to have, so that way they can gain that extra spot, that extra position on their competitors here at Circuit of the Americas. But it's going to be a tall order as Jenson Benet has just been putting lap after lap consistently faster and faster here at Circuit of the Americas.
Bob Moore, Peter Hicks have the honor of being best battle on track at the moment, at least in terms of proximity, along with Gary Rice and Julian Velez. You see just how tight it is. You ride off the back of race on board with that number 1 machine as Velez will look for something, and Bob Moore and Peter Yerkes might be able to see these two in the distance. They just came out of turn 11 as Rice and Velez begin to enter turn 12.
Yes, indeed. We're going to see if Bob Moore can hold off a hard-charging Peter Yerkes as they go down the back straightaway once again. Peter will take a peek to the inside as they'll go side by side. And Peter might be able to get the position if he doesn't overshoot the corner. Bob Moore backs the corner up just a little bit to get a better run off corner exit. He'll take a peek to the inside, which will now be the outside as they go through the stadium section.
And maybe, I thought there might have been contact there. Moore certainly looked at it for a split second and then decided to go to the outside and maybe come back to the inside. Really nice defense there from Yerkes, who then goes wide out in just about nowhere. No man's land out in the sand over there. But as they come through 8, tough to go through here side by side. You're leaning heavily on the mechanical grip as Bob Moore spins off and then comes up the racetrack and nearly takes out another car. Looks like a lap down machine, but Moore in trouble, and now he will fall in the order and lose his top 10 run right at the end as Benet is racing around to see if we get one more lap in or not.
This looks like Bob Moore is in more trouble indeed as he is trying to get the car turned around. He does, but he's going to lose a lot of positions. He's now getting passed by Mo Dutka as they're coming out of turn number 19. A big hard charge as he's trying to hold off Mo as they come up to turn 20.
So is Bob Moore in more trouble or more trouble?
I think it's going to be more and more trouble.
More trouble? Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure. I wasn't necessarily certain on that one. But thanks for the clarification, Taylor.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Because Benet is, I think, going to have time for one more lap. Only a minute on the clock left now, but he's pretty close to the start-finish line. So he should get one more lap in, and in turn, he should be coming to receive the white flag to win his second race in as many weeks in the sport class if he keeps it clean for one more go.
I got to say, Jenson Benet, if he's able to continue this streak of run finishes that he's been having, we could be seeing him compete against his brother the next season of the PCA Sim Racing Series, and talk about a fight that would be.
Jenson Benet across the start finish line with 30 seconds to go in around lap traffic. So this is the final lap for Jenson Benet.
One lap to go here. One time to just consistently bring it home in one piece. No pressure from behind whatsoever. Some 14.3 back from Earl Arch Jr. So Earl Arch Jr. is trying to see if he can do anything, but he's got to hold off a hard-charging Gregory Sampson, who is in third, about 1.8, 1.9 back.
There aren't really too many battles nose to tail, maybe save for Donald Binkley and George Markadakis in 11th and 12th. They're within half a second through the stadium section.
Here they come right now through the second half of the stadium section. Those two are going to be lined up nose to tail right now. Donald Binkley, a really good performance for him tonight in the O2. Going to be coming home in around the top 15 as he tries to hold off George Markadakis as they come out of one of the tight hairpins down the straightaway. They will go into that long sweeping corner of the final few sections before they hit turn 19.
Turn 19 on the docket. Meanwhile, Jenson Benet through turn 11 for the last time down the very long back straight here at COTA. One of the longest stretches of pavement these drivers will see in Series 5 of PCA Sim Racing. You also have that tight battle between Line Racer Rumi and Paul Sulk that we'll get back to. Those two have a full lap to complete. They're just ahead of Jenson Benet, who enters the stadium section for the final time.
Here he comes, Jenson Benet. Pretty much absolutely dominated tonight's race. Led from start to finish as he is coming through the final few sections of the stadium course. As he approaches, got a nice line through, has a couple of lap cars in front of him, but no worries. Just has to bring it home in one piece, and he should take home the checkered flag.
Jenson Benet through 17 and 18, and not much lap traffic to deal with. Curtis Crummell will stay low into the inside and get out of the way for Jenson Benet out of the Lincoln Trail region, who with one more corner will make it 2 for 2 in as many weeks to become the first 3-race winner in the sport class of Series 5. Jensen Bene back-to-back on Friday nights. He wins the 5th round of Series 5 of the sport class presented by Leland West at Circuit of the Americas.
Here comes the rest of the podium field of Earl Arch Jr. He will come across the line second, and Gregory Sampson tried to make a hard charge, but will end up in third. Looking through the field right now, I bet one of the closest battle would have to be the battle between Randall Ayers and Robert Walton for 16th and 17th right now.
Ayers and Walton, because Sulk and Sarumi have slipped up here. So now we'll keep an eye on Ayers and Walton. This is our last big battle. Everybody else pretty well spaced out amongst the top 15. So we'll keep an eye on the 83 machine and the 6 machine as they complete their last lap at COTA.
As they're coming into the stadium section of the course, entering turn number 12. They're going to be nose to tail right now as they hit the braking zone once again. And Walton laid into the braking. Will he be able to make it stick? The answer will be not quite, as Randall Ayers will get back around him through the stadium section. They will go into turn 13.
He tried. Give him credit. He most definitely tried, but Ayers back with the spot. So now Walton might have maybe one more shot here in the stadium section, and then that run into turn 20 might be the only other one he's got a shot at, as Ayers didn't have the greatest of runs out of the corner, but got good exit speed to enter this final section nicely.
He does. He's going to try to put the pressure on as they come through the final few corners here at Circuit of the Americas. One more attempt for Robert Walton to get around Randall Ayers for 16th. Into turn 19 they will go, but I think it's going to be not close enough for Walton to make a pass.
It won't be close enough for Walton to make a pass, and it's Randall Ayers who will come away with the 16th position. And you've got Sulk and Sarumi coming around the final corner too. One last time from Sarumi, but it's not enough. So Paul Sulk will claim 18th, and long range Sarumi will pick up 19th this evening. Right on board, they come across the line, and as they come across the line, that is your sport class race at Circuit of the Americas, and it is time to bring you your full field rundown and tell you where your favorite driver finished. Jensen Bene, your winner over Earl Orange Jr. Gregory Sampson rounds out the podium this evening. 4th was Michael Masters, and Ken Eskridge rounded out the top 5. 6th went to Gary Rice. Julian Velez finished in 7th. 8th was Orgunga Rout. 9th to Peter Yuxa. 10th to the 924 Chris Duffy.
Finishing in the 11th position will be Donald Binkley, followed by George Markadakis in the 12th position. Bob Moore will come home in the 13th position, followed by Mo Dutka in 14th. 15th goes to Al Sadouk after a hard charge, starting in 23rd, followed by Randall Ayers in 16th. 17th will go to Robert Walton, followed by 18th of Paul Sulk. Lonray Sarumi will be the last car on the lead lap, coming home 19th, with Curtis Crummell finishing 20th.
21st this evening was Ryan McGee. 22nd went to Sebastiano Balistrieri. Stephen Bukowski was 23rd, and 24th to the 31 of Stuart Nelson. Carl Bocchieri finished 25th this evening. 26th went to James Bernard. Johnny Podpro was 27th. 28th to Tyler Edwards. Antonio da Silva, 29th on the grid. 30th was Chip Witt. Rusty Pruden, David Santel, Arnie Klassen. Your final 3 finishers in tonight's sport class race presented by Leland West. We bring in Jensen Bene once again, who you make this look easier and easier and easier every time. Do we need to move? A better question. Are you at a point where you're starting to prepare yourself for a potential run to a pro class in season 6? The pace is certainly there. It almost feels like you're on another planet. You've gathered it all so quickly.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, for one, it's down to my dad. He's just amazing with the setups. He's just really incredible. And this track was, I mean, I did not expect to even win or even finish top 5, to be completely honest with everyone. I'm honestly surprised I ended up winning. I mean, that is just unbelievable.
I have to ask the question, since we heard a little bit of commotion in the background. Is that Sean, or is it your dad, or someone else?
That was my dad. He's the one who provides the setups for us. That was my...
Papa Benet with the celebrations in there. So it is most definitely a family affair with Benet fam, which
Oh, definitely.
I suppose then explains why you and Sean and everyone are so strong. There's something a little bit special, I think, about a father-son operation.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, my dad has racing experience. He's raced for Christ for 30 or more years, and he's really helped us out. I mean, I'm not the mechanical one, he's the mechanical one, and that really helps us both.
How much fun is it then to translate what you need out of a setup when you're talking to him, trying to piece together what you think and what you're working with?
Well, it's really fun. I mean, now it's not just down to the setup, it's also down to the driver as well and like what they're comfortable with. And obviously that setup, I wasn't really fully comfortable with the track. There were like 1 or 2 corners that threw me off, but I still feel that I was comfortable enough out there.
So Watkins Glen next week then, 3 for 3. Can you do it?
I think it's a possibility, though. The fighting from Michael DeMasters, Earl Arts Jr., Gregory Sampson, Chris Duffy, and literally everyone else, especially. I mean, you never know how good anyone could be. I mean, we all saw at COTA, like a lot of people mentioned how it threw them off, especially myself, and how much trouble we had. So Watkins Glen, definitely, I think, an easier circuit. I think the field will be very much closer in the next race, so we'll have to wait and see.
Jensen, who do you need to thank for tonight's victory?
Obviously, my family, my friends, and I also have to thank our sponsor and you guys as well. So, yeah, pretty incredible. Can't wait for next weekend.
Well, Jensen, thanks as always for taking the time to chat with us, and best of luck next week at Watkins Glen. Congratulations from everyone at PCA Sports and the Portrait Club of America.
Thank you.
It is now time to turn over back to regular screen mode and to the blue button if you're on YouTube to head to round number 3, PCA Sim Racing, or the link in chat that PCA Marketing Director Jim Hebbing has posted. But either one of those will do to get you to our 3rd race of the evening. The Club Clash, presented by Michelin, is up next in just a few moments from Circuit of the Americas. Don't go anywhere. More coverage from PCA Sports of PCA Sim Racing Series 5 in just a few moments.